Um, well, as far as the ones that I've actually sacrificed for, I do see, a good case for things like fiat IO and liquid loans. One quote that Richard doesn't say very often anymore is that if we want to replace the banks, we need to replace all their products, not just one. And he used to use that in the context of Bitcoin started out as its narrative as a P2P cash, but eventually it shifted over to digital gold. But of course, banks have CDs, and so he was trying to advocate for Hex's existence as a crypto version of a bank CD that that nobody ever created before.
Right.
But one other product that they do have is loans, and so I'm glad that Liquid Loans is kind of doing their thing and filling a niche that I don't think other people are filling. So there's that, and fiat is um, is another thing that I'm looking forward to because I've used. I think they're a fork of Aave, aren't they? Or
Yes, as far as I know,
yeah,
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it looks pretty similar, the UI, and so yeah, I've used Aave before, and I do like that the product. So I think that definitely will have a use case of existing on Pulse. But funny enough, the two products that I love that are ones that are actually out already, and that's Alex's Icosa Hedron, and of course the Maximus family of pools.
We got Dip Catcher in here shilling his
Yep.
project.
Shout out to Tanto.
Jeez,
Yeah, I met him in Vegas too. Great guy. Yeah, him and Golki.
large guy.
Absolutely
I felt
awesome. Yeah,
I felt comfortable being around the larger people.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Um,
That was fun.
yeah. As far as the icosahedron stuff, it's funny because initially I was very against tradable stakes because I thought that I was on the bandwagon with all the other hard staked maximalists, so to speak, in that we really we're trying to protect the ideal of your money is hard locked and it can't be can't be spent or anything. So it kind of the hard lock protects you from yourself. But slowly my stance on that sort of softened a little bit because I've heard numerous instances, not only from like random hexagons, but even from my own onboards that sometimes there's just holes in your ladder where you really need life doesn't wait for you to be prepared for for an emergency to pop up, and sometimes you just really need a big chunk of money. So it's kind of nice to have an option where you can sell your stake or whatever if you need to, and so from that perspective my view kind of slowly started to shift, and I really like the way Alex sort of implemented wrap stakes, and um,
Yeah.
the fact that you could tokenize them and into an NFT and sell them if you need to, and the free hedron and the whole Icosa thing, also is just added bonus on top of all that stuff. So yeah, so that's great.
What are some of
Um,
the projects you think that are don't get enough attention? Where you're like, whoa, like this is totally, I jive with this for whatever reason. Nobody got in the sacrifice phase, or I know Fiat had a very short sac phase and very
mm,
or smaller one for
yeah,
the reasons as well. Like,
yeah.
is there any project out there that where you're like, whoa, like not a lot of people know about this, but I think it's going to be big?
I I can't think of one quickly off the top of my head, but actually, now that you mentioned Fiat IO, it is funny that you mentioned that because I actually was made aware of their sac phase on the last day by a friend that could just kind of
Mm,
told me about it in passing, and so I almost missed that sac phase actually, and so but yeah, I'm glad I was able to put a little money in. Um, it's I can't really think of anything because I think that most of the most important projects had sacrifice phases long enough that people were able to spread the word on Twitter and Telegram. So yeah, uh, I do see a lot of excitement around the Maximus family of pools, and that's great because it's just um, one of the like if you're not a whale, then the only the way that you can become a whale is just combining your economic energy with other people to collectively become one. So I think it's great,
Yeah.
what Maximus does, and
1 billion hex
all
staked.
all the smaller
I saw
pools.
that.
Yeah, yeah,
1
it's
billion.
absolutely insane. And yeah, I think that people just coming together and amplifying their power together to all mutually benefit is a great thing. And yeah, it's funny. I had a big stack of Maximus, but for whatever reason, I decided to ape into Icosa day one. So what I did was I sold mine for Hex, and then made a bunch of Quattro Cinco HSIs, and then I just did the whole
Mm.
Icosa buyback thing and staked that.
I
So
mean, it's
I figured,
there's worse
we got like
moves.
what
That's not
14 more years to buy back my position, and or even
that.
more. So
Funny enough, that's the thing. I think I've thought about that too. Like, I like, when do I want to hold
yeah,
Maxi?
yeah.
Like, it seems like
Because I
I
mean,
got
you
plenty
you
of
can't
time.
redeem it anyway until the end. So might as well yeah. I mean, yeah. I felt that there was more opportunity in just getting more Icosa for the day that it launched and staking it. So yeah, I just went that path
Well,
instead.
I thought about that. All the staking pools, all the coins, super important for the community. Like,
Yeah.
clearly solving a problem. Amazing.
Mm.
I just on that point of like, when do you want to hold it? Obviously, if you got the huge premium if you traded Hex in for
Yeah, you could
Maxi
definitely
day
trade the
one.
premium. Yeah, of course.
But
Yeah.
it's just the most of the value of the, especially Maxi, and maybe the other ones too, come at the time that the stake ends. You get all the stuff, things
Yeah.
like that.
Hmm.
I just wonder, there's got to be, I wonder if anyone's talked about just when is the best, because I mean, obviously it's better to hold it forever and all this stuff. Like, if you have it, you'll always be able to redeem it.
Yeah.
But I wonder how many people are going to hold it, for the rest of this year and next year,
Mm.
versus how many people are going to pick it up in year 5, pick it up in
Yeah.
year 10,
Yeah.
and year 11, 12, 13, 14. We're coming up on year 15. Just imagine how many people are going to ape into that Maximus, especially in the bear market. It'll say
Mm.
bear market 2035. Just
Yeah.
something like that. Like, bear market 2036. How many people are going to pick up the cheapest version of the one that's about to end
Mm.
and be
Yeah.
redeemable for all this stuff? It's
Yeah.
going to be
For sure. Yeah. Well, yeah,
crazy.
yeah. It's funny you bring that up, because another thing that kind of throws a wrench in the equation is that people that are buying and holding it, plus all the other all the other pools, they get they get a copy once PulseChain launches. Whereas if you wait till after the fork, then obviously you have to buy them both separately. So yeah, there's that to consider as well.
Yeah, the fork too.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Holding them. So wouldn't the optimal play for that be hold them until the fork
Yeah.
to keep your copy, and then
And then
maybe take
maybe
one of the copies?
sell one
Yeah.
or sell both of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
Yeah,
It's
for
that
sure.
part. So I got a question here from Mr. Capazzo. Couldn't an HSI save you from gas, much like Maximus does? Yeah, you got anything on that, Vince?
Gas fees are ridiculous. Yeah, actually, that's a great point. If the gas cost for that Quattro Cinco is too great to unstake, then yeah, theoretically at that time you could sell it to the Icosa contract instead, and then get that liquid Icosa and then sell that instead. Though I think that the market value of the hex will be so, probably so great that you wouldn't really care about the gas cost if it's maybe like 4 or 5 figures. If your redemption value is like 6 or 7 figures, then
Right.
I think it's still worth it to end stake it. So
You know, gosh, wouldn't that be crazy? I guess the only weird thing that, I mean, it probably won't happen, but like, well, I guess it depends on the value of the
yeah,
5555. Did
yeah,
you stake $100? Did you stake $10,000? That kind of thing.
yeah. It depends on
But
your USD cost basis too, I guess.
Yeah. Is it?
Either way, somebody's going to have to end stake it, because even if you do that, then 90 days later it comes up on the auction, and somebody's going to snatch it up and stake it. I would assume so.